Walt, on the closing day of NBAA 2011, we understand that you've had a pretty good week. Tell us what happened.
Well, this was a very exciting week. We had an Eclipse jet donated to the Veterans Airlift Command. Now, we have 1,800 volunteer aircraft owners and pilots all over the country that fly our missions for us. But this is significant. It tells a story about the generosity of private aircraft owners, for one thing. But this airplane is going to be used by the Veterans Airlift Command to fill missions that we can't fill with our volunteer network. So it'll be a standby aircraft with volunteer pilots staffed by Eclipse owner type-rated pilots, with a chief pilot, donated space by an FBO in the middle of the country, which would be an appropriate place to park it. And once a month or so, we'll take that airplane and fly a mission that we couldn't otherwise get covered. So this is a significant thing. Now, Eclipse Aerospace is standing behind this with a commitment to do the upgrades on this airplane to make it a total Eclipse. They're going to provide up to $500,000 worth of the cost of refurbing this airplane and lead a capital raising campaign to raise $1.5 million to not only get this fully upgraded, but to operate the airplane over the next couple of years.
Wow, that doesn't happen every day, does it?
No, that's a first for us. We've had significant contributions in terms of aircraft owners and pilots that fly their aircraft. Just this week, a triple amputee flew from Bethesda, Maryland to San Diego to see off his buddies going back to Afghanistan through the generosity of an owner of a G3 who flew it up from Florida, picked this young man up by himself, flew the airplane to San Diego. The crew flew home commercially back out yesterday to pick up the airplane and this young Marine, take him back to Bethesda. That's a significant contribution, but typical of our volunteers.
What is the Veterans Airlift Command?
The Veterans Airlift Command is an organization that provides free air transportation to combat wounded warriors and their families for medical and other compassionate purposes through a national network of volunteer aircraft owners and pilots.
Now, this is not a small-time operation. You guys are very busy. Can you give me a scope of what a typical week, month, year in the life of the command is like?
Well, we're very thinly staffed. We have a staff of three people, including myself. We have flown over 5,000 passengers since we began this work 5 years ago, and every year has been greater than the year prior. This will be our biggest year yet by 25% over last year. The need is there and the desire to help is there. So we have sort of fallen into something that, well, I started this with my own airplane thinking I'd help a couple families move back and forth. It's taken off, and sort of what I thought was a good idea, a lot of other folks do too.
Why? Where did this come from in you?
Well, from my own experience, I was combat wounded in Vietnam, was a helicopter pilot, got injured by shrapnel from one of my rockets, and spent a year recovering, 6 months in a hospital, 6 months in recovery, a long way from home. So when I retired, I thought, I'm going to solve that problem for somebody else. I think the pendulum has swung quite a ways from where it was when I got home, and there are a lot of people willing to stand up and help. Yeah.
There have to be some really amazing stories in what you've done. Anything come to mind?
Gosh, you know, I'd start with the very first flight we did, and the stories get better and better and better, but just this week we flew a quadruple amputee. Brandon Morocco, who's well known in national press, has picked this story up because he's got a tremendous attitude. Wanted to go to a wedding of a friend in Dallas, and his girlfriend was in Charleston, and she wanted to go, and we had an Eclipse owner actually pick her up in Charleston, pick him up in Newark, take them to Texas, then return that trip after the wedding. We have a shot of him sitting in the right seat of an Eclipse jet with a great big grin on his face. Doesn't get much better than that.
Oh my, that had to be absolutely astounding to see and be a part of.
Yeah, it is. Every trip is. I got a trip request this morning from a mother of a young Marine who hasn't been home yet since he was wounded. I wrote my daughter a quick text and said, this one made me cry. And often my days are started like that. So it's very rewarding work for us and for all of our volunteers. We have three needs. One is the community that needs us to find out about us, so getting the wounded warriors. We're getting pretty well known there. The second two are funds to operate the organization, and thirdly are aircraft to fly. So high-performance aircraft owners can register their airplanes online. It's very simple, veteransairlift.org under the aircraft tab. register your airplane, and if we have a mission, we blast email to those along the route, and if it's not something you can do, you delete it. We don't harass anybody. We generally get the missions covered. It's a matter of just registering your airplane. There's no cost to it. We require high-performance aircraft, instrument-rated, proficient pilots, and you're good to go.
Thank you, sir, for your service.
Aviation sets a new standard for simplicity and safety with our all-new panel-mounted avionics stack. The IFD 540 GPS Navcom features our award-winning FMS with an intuitive touchscreen user interface. Plus, it's a slide-in replacement for 530 series navigators, which reduces installation costs. The AMX 240 is our new audio panel with intercom and Bluetooth music interface. And our AXP 340 Mode S transponder with ADS-B out is a slide-in replacement for existing KT-76A transponders. Add in our innovative DFC 90 series autopilot with flight envelope protection, and you've got the most capable and easy-to-use avionics stack any pilot could ever need. Now you have a choice in the